I can't hardly get out of bed. My legs are hurting. I just stopped answering the phone. I can't be with my family hardly anymore. I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm desperate. 70 pills sometimes a day. It's like my hand's out and there's nobody there to grab it. I've been living in Arizona the last 10 years and not bit by a tick, mosquito, nothing. And the last thing I would have expected is Lyme disease. Up until that point, I was starting to get acid reflux pretty bad, but outside of the acid reflux, there was no other symptoms. I went to bed that night and woke up just violently sick. Ended up going to the hospital. I was so sick. They told me I had the flu, gave me a Z-Pack. Took the Z-Pack. My symptoms increased twice as bad. I was on my deathbed, literally. I went to the emergency room 4 times over 6 days. I wish somebody could just get in my body for one day then and just feel the symptoms. I think every Lyme patient feels that way, is that they wish that somebody else could feel their pain for one day, to understand what they're saying and to know they're not crazy. I couldn't even hold down water. I was like spraying water or regurgitating, vomiting, whatever you want to call it. And I just real achy and just couldn't hardly get out of bed. Anything I'd eat, my throat just didn't feel right, and it went from like transferring pain, like it'd be in my legs to in my arms. I was always cloudy. It was the worst feeling ever, to just not be able to be there with your son and your wife, and it was it was bad. I was bedridden for a year and a half, and I was losing weight like crazy, which isn't a typical symptom, but there's no such thing as a typical symptom with Lyme. The bug moves where it wants to move, and mine, I lost over 50 pounds documented in a little over 5 weeks. It was horrible, and every day I would go to the doctor and I would tell him something's wrong, and it was, no, we did blood tests say you're normal, everything's fine. No, everything's not fine. Everything's not fine. I can't hardly get out of bed. My legs are hurting. I just stopped answering the phone. I can't be with my family hardly anymore. I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm desperate. It's like my hand's out and there's nobody there to grab it. This is the first 6 months of my journey with Lyme disease and its co-infections. And as you can tell, I have 4 of these booklets, and this is pretty intensive. I mean, from my MRIs to my blood work to everything in between, from hospitalization notes. We'll go through them here in a minute, to what they found in my kidneys and what they didn't find. I think the toughest part for me was getting lost in the journey. Where do you start? I mean, where do you start? You don't know where to start. They give you a ton of tests and they say nothing's wrong, and finally you get a hold of a doctor, finally, that recognizes that there's infectious disease and that there's a Lyme, somebody that understands Lyme, somebody that understands heavy metals, somebody that understands everything from drainage to detox to bindings to killing agents to reducing the toxic burden in the body. Whenever you get them, you get a list all the way from the ceiling down to the floor of everything that they need to start by doing. And it's, whenever you're sick, it's, whenever you're healthy, it's easy to sit there and look and go, I understand this list and the order it needs to be done, and whenever you're sick, you just want it done, and it happens so slow, and it takes 2 or 3 years, 4 years, 5 years to get healthy, and you don't want to hear that. That's not what you want to hear. That's not what I wanted to hear. That's not what anybody wants to hear. And you get the protocols. I mean, my protocols sometimes every day had 25 different supplements in them. 25 different supplements, morning, afternoon, and evening. 70 pills sometimes a day. So then you don't take all of the pills and the doctors tell you you're not following the protocol. How do you expect to get better if you're not following the protocol? It's frustrating. It's really frustrating to know that you're so sick, you're just fighting every day. You feel like you're fighting to survive. Like I felt like every day I was just fighting to survive. That was my deal, was just fighting to find the answer to what was wrong. And the last thing I was trying to do was 100 different things. Your life now becomes a protocol. That's what your new life is. Your new life is a protocol. You have nothing to do in your life, but you're now a protocol. You wake up in the morning, you have your morning planned of the drink you're gonna drink. You know what you're gonna eat for lunch. You know all the pills you have to take throughout the day. You know if you need to do a lymph treatment, you need to do a parasite treatment, you're going to get an IV, you have a colonic at this time. How do you get the money to do it? I was getting $10,000 medical bills, $15,000 medical bills, and it was monthly. I didn't have $15,000 a month to spend on this doctor and this treatment and this treatment. So the list just kept compounding and the bills just kept adding up. The reason that I started feeling better is because I picked 4 core products, 5 core products, and I stuck to them. Every day I made sure I simplified the 70 pills I was taking a day and took the ones that I knew were killing and binding and supporting. Those were my whole 3 things: is how do I kill it, how do I get it out of my body, and how do I support my body after it's been through these killing agents and shredding minerals out and pulling toxins. And I picked a few main ingredients that were simple for me to take every day. I took the protocol from a list this big down to a list this big, and I just stayed on top of it every single day for 2 years, and that's whenever I really started seeing things start to shift. After about 120 days of just taking those what I like to call my go-to products, I started noticing a little change for the better, and it was like, wow, I'm a little less cloudy today. Instead of being cloudy for 24 hours a day, I was cloudy for 16 hours a day. And then as time went on and I stuck to the regimen longer and longer, it started to go away more and more. And it didn't happen overnight. They didn't take huge jumps, and the next day I woke up feeling great. But every day I started feeling a little better and a little better and a little better. So I went to all my doctors and I said, these are the things, after months, almost a year of testing different things, that are really working for me. I want to create something that I can take to people in rural areas. I want to help people. I'm so sick of people having all of these symptoms and not being treated properly. I said, this is my life's mission. Right now, from this day on, I've been so blessed that I'm getting better, and I'm at a point in my life where now it's time for me to give back what I've found. Dr. Klinghardt. Dr. Klinghardt is, he's one of the most, not one of the most, he is the most amazing Lyme and Lyme co-infection doctor in the world.
I learned about Diedrich, and he was a doctor who was the pioneer of talking about Lyme disease and toxicity and the interactions and using kinesiology. And he's really what I consider the pioneer of talking about a lot of this topic.
I'm in Seattle, Washington to see Dr. Klinghardt, one of the foremost specialists on Lyme disease. This is great. I feel horrible. It's perfect. He's the one that I respect the most. He's the one that I trust. I've purposely not let myself fall into the whole trap of doctor after doctor and treatment after treatment because I'm waiting for the right one.
You guys ready? Come back, guys.
It's kind. Really?
Glad to see it too. So talk to me first. Give me all the information I need to be a better doctor to you.
So how do I explain 7 years of...
Okay, so you've been ill for 7 years.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
37.
What have you done in terms of treatment?
When I found out, I started antibiotics. I did 6 months and I was so ill. And I just didn't see it as an answer.
Lyme disease is one of the many microbes that has entered our system. And I feel as a physician that things are getting to a degree that's serious. We're watching other mammals die out and kind of think, well, I'm glad it's not me. However, as our environment becomes increasingly polluted, so do our bodies. And then will grow the bugs in us that are not compatible with human life anymore. So you have a tremendous amount of inflammation in the gut. The Lyme disease leads to a suppression of the immune system, and then you grow these things in you that we're always exposed to. So I'm just going to first do just a few neurological tests on you. So you have a little bit borderline Babinski reflex. There's an upper motor neuron sign. It means you're sort of that significant levels of toxicity in spinal cord or brain, which is a way for me to stage how close you are to possibly developing like a more serious thing like MS. You know, older people often get Parkinson's after they've had undiagnosed Lyme, you know, or Alzheimer's. Younger people tend to, especially women, tend to get MS.
It really struck me today how much I've been in denial of this illness. I mean, I've been feeling really twitchy and just shaky, a lot of neurological stuff, but it's like I can't deny it anymore. It's becoming very visible, so I think I'm just in time.
Yeah, there's a warning sign. This is not a mild situation. You're sort of like, you have to do, within the next few months, you have to resolve the issues that you can resolve. Yeah? You have to promise that to me.
I'm ready.
Yeah?
Yeah. It feels like just emergency. It's just a panic in my body that I've learned to just walk around with.
I want to talk about an effective way of treating Lyme disease. So, first of all, I'd like to make it clear that since we have that new provoked urine test for Lyme disease, it looks like there's a significant larger number of people affected by this illness than is currently known. Secondly, the literature points towards the failure of the treatment with antibiotics. It's published that up to 62% of people with Lyme disease that are treated with antibiotics not only fail the treatment, but for over 3 years afterwards they're worse off than they were before. So that means only a little bit more than 1/3 of people with Lyme are treated successfully with antibiotics. So I shifted a long time ago to the treatment using herbs largely as the main defense against the illness, and that has been a very successful strategy. So over the years we explored the use of different herbs, different ways of presenting the herbs to the body, and found really, really good, powerful, gentle but powerful solutions that I shared with David, who is a friend of us. And we have wonderful, simple herbal protocols that do not use 1,000 different herbs and different herbs for every person, but the herbs are aimed in their effectiveness at the illness, and they work pretty much patient without leaving a trail of destruction behind. And that is something everyone facing chronic illness should explore.
But I feel that from a cost standpoint and a safety standpoint, that herbal selection is the best way to start for any patient, because it's not going to create other future complications. It's very safe, and you also have the broad spectrum ability of most herbs and plants to cover most pathogens, which means that if you think there's more than just Lyme disease, you can also be treating the virus, the fungus, the bacteria at the same time, where specific antibiotics are very small in their spectrum of kill power that can then create other problems. I think most patients on any type of product have to give at least 30 to 60 days to experience that product and to see what effects are going to happen from killing pathogens off and what immune improvements are going to happen. A minimum of 30 to 60 days to see that type of change.
I know what you're going through. I went through it every single day, and I went far too long without being on a specific protocol until I created one for myself. And until you get on one and stay on a regimen, it's going to be really hard for you to get back to where you want to be too. And that's happy and healthy, just like life was before this. Do me a favor, start the FX Vital protocol that Dr. Klinghardt and I put together. Stay on it for 6 to 12 months and start seeing the changes in life that you deserve. We've simplified FX Vital by combining the world's best and most potent herbs for treating Lyme and its co-infections into a single tincture formula. We decided to go with the tincture because it's 6 times more absorbent than a standard capsule. After cellular testing formula after formula, we finally have the perfect combination of vital ingredients. Try FX Vital now. You'll be glad you did. I can't wait to hear the stories about how you're feeling back to your old self.